Two consecutive World Cup tournaments had been played in Europe, and FIFA thought it was time to look elsewhere. They liked South America due to its well-known soccer passion. Argentina and Chile were the options, and Chile was the chosen one for the 1962 World Cup. Chile played against Switzerland in the first game of the tournament. In the third minute of the first half, the Europeans wearing black scored their first goal when Westrich beat keeper Scuti. Chile's national stadium in Santiago went silent as their team was down by 1. The equalizer came in the 44th minute of the first half. Leonel Sanchez, who at the time was considered to be the best Chilean player, scored the team's first goal. Now in the second half, in the 6th minute, Chile took the lead as Ramirez scored. Three minutes later, Leonel Sanchez came to shine again in a joint effort for the final score, 3-1. Chile would face Italy in their second game. This happened to be one of the most controversial soccer games in history. The tension could be felt even before the beginning of the match due to some reports by the Italian press regarding the high levels of poverty and prostitution in Chile. The game's constant factor was the violence that developed among the players. Mario David committed a foul against Leonel Sanchez, who strongly reacted, and the referee handed out the red card to the Italian player. The European team would have to continue the match with only 10 players. The first goal came in the 29th minute as Ramirez headed the ball in past the keeper and defenders. Chile celebrated their 1-0 lead. The tensions kept growing. Physical and verbal aggressions did not end. The referee sent another Italian player, Ferini, to the bench. Italy was left with 9 men on the field. Two minutes before the end of the game, Toro scored for Chile for the final score of 2-0. The home team classified to the next round, while Italy was eliminated from the tournament. Chile, already classified, played against West Germany, which was anxious for their pass to the second round. Semaniak scored on this penalty shot, giving the Germans a 1-0 lead. In the 37th minute, a great play by Zieler, who scored the second goal for the Europeans, giving them their classification to the second round. In Group A, the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia classified very easily. 6 minutes into the game, Inovov scored the first goal. In the second half, Podolnik scored the second for the Soviet Union. Despite the loss, Yugoslavia was on its way to the second round. In this group, both South American teams, Uruguay and Colombia, were eliminated from the Cup. Spain played against the Czech Republic. This was one of the most balanced groups, which included Chile, Brazil, and Mexico. Chile, in a previous match, had defeated Switzerland. The Czechs initiated the pressure at Viña del Mar, where Stebrani scored the only goal of the match at the 35th minute. This meant that the Czechs classified for the next round. Spain didn't succeed, even though they counted on stars such as the Hungarian Puskás and the Argentinian Alfredo Di Stefano, who was injured during this championship. Brazil went to the second round by beating Mexico 2-0, and through the draw with the Czech selection. Brazil faced Spain in a game where the Brazilians just needed a draw in order to move forward. The Spaniard Adelardo scored at the 35th minute of the first half. Now in the second half, Puskás scored on a bicycle kick, but his goal did not count. Brazil kept looking for the equalizer, and Garrincha, moving down the right wing, served a nice ball that the Spaniard keeper, Araquistain, was able to stop. Finally, Amarildo scored Brazil's equalizer after receiving a pass from Zagallo. The draw was enough for Brazil to move on to the second round. But at the 40th minute, close to the end of the game, Garrincha in an individual play again crossed the ball to Amarildo, who headed it in for the final score of 2-1, eliminating Spain from this World Cup. England versus Hungary, a classic of that time. There were a few fans at the stadium for this game. The only survivor of the 1954 World Cup was keeper Grossis. One of the greatest talents was Lajos Tichy, who scored at the 17th minute of the first half. In the 13th minute of the second half, Greaves took a shot on goal, but the Hungarian defender saved the ball with his hand. The referee awarded the penalty kick, which Flowers converted. The game was tied 1-1. Three minutes later, Florian Albert, one of the best Hungarian soccer players in history, scored this beautiful goal, giving Hungary the pass to the second round. West Germany and Yugoslavia met in the quarterfinals match for the third consecutive time. The Germans dominated the first half of the encounter. Seeler was the most dangerous striker, but Yugoslavia's defense was well organized. After a scoreless first half, Yugoslavia took control of the ball, and at minute 40, Radakovic scored the victory goal. Yugoslavia defeated West Germany 1-0 and moved on to the next round. Outside Chile's capital city of Santiago, the game between European teams didn't call for many spectators. The Czech Republic and Hungary played at Rancagua in the other quarterfinals match. In the 13th minute, a joint effort between 6 players allowed Schwerer to score the only goal of the match. Although Hungary looked for the equalizer, they weren't able to find it. The referee signaled the end of the game, and for the first time in 38 years, the Czechs had classified for the semi-final round. Brazil faced England. An injured Pelé was present to support his team and sign autographs for his fans. The pre-game show for this game was provided by a small dog who entered the playing field. He was able to get away from various players, but met his match in Greaves, the English player, who was able to coax him near enough to grab him and send him off the field safely. The game was widely anticipated and had high expectations. The English team was well equipped with players such as Wilson, Bobby Moore, Bobby Charlton, who would later on be world champions themselves. In the 32nd minute of the first half, Garrincha opened the scoreboard with a terrific header from a free kick. 7 minutes later, England reached a draw when Hitchens caught a rebound from the crossbar and scored the equalizer. Moreira's team had the last word in the second half. Garrincha kicked the free kick, the keeper Springett couldn't handle the ball, and Vavá scored his first goal of the tournament at the 8th minute of the extra time. Six minutes later, Garrincha, with this beautiful right foot shot, sent the ball to the upper corner for the final score of 3-1. Chile played against the Soviet Union in front of a packed stadium in Arica. The home team did not expect to make it this far, but fans from all over the country traveled to Arica for the game. The Soviet Union had its star, Yachin, also known as the Black Spider. Leonel Sanchez opened the score at the 11th minute with this tremendous goal, his third of the tournament. In the 37th minute, Chislenko scored the equalizer for the Soviets after several rebounds. But Chile wouldn't stop fighting for their victory, and 1 minute after Chilensko's goal, Rojas got the ball and shot it into the lower left-hand corner, putting Chile back in the lead. In the second half, Chile had control of the ball and were looking for their third goal, which wasn't an easy task since the Soviet keeper, Yachin, at the time was considered the world's best keeper. The match ended with a 2-1 victory for Chile. For the first time in history, Chile would play in the semi-final round. An entire nation celebrated this great accomplishment. Chile and Brazil were supposed to play their semi-final match in Viña del Mar, but FIFA changed the plans and chose to play at the National Stadium in Santiago because it offered better safety. In the 9th minute of the first half, Garrincha, always ready, scored the first goal for Brazil. In the 32nd minute, Garrincha showed his skills once more and scores Brazil's second goal. But Chile wasn't going to give up. A foul was committed on the Chilean player. Rojas shoots and scores Chile's first goal. The lead is cut in half. In the second half, in the 3rd minute, Garrincha forced a corner kick. Vavá took advantage of the play and scored Brazil's 3rd goal. In the 16th minute, a penalty kick was awarded to Chile. Leonel Sanchez converts a shot. Garrincha, though, continued to show his skills, and in the 33rd minute sent the cross to Vavá, who scored the final goal of the match. Brazil would move on to play the final game, and Chile would have to settle for the 3rd place match. The Czech Republic played against Yugoslavia at the same time that Chile and Brazil played, but these teams played at Viña del Mar. Chile and Brazil's game had 60,000 spectators in attendance, but the Europeans' game only attracted about 6,000. The first half of this game was uneventful, while the second half was the exact opposite. In the 4th minute of the second half, the Czechs scored the first goal as Kadabra headed the cross from the right. But Yugoslavia took control of the ball, and in the 33rd minute, Jerkovic got the equalizer with a well-done header that beat the keeper, Sheroif. 2 minutes later, in a fast attack by the Czechs, Scherz scored as his shot snuck underneath Šošek for the team's second goal. The game was stopped momentarily as a dog entered the field. Once the match restarted, at minute 40, the Czech proved that they didn't lose their concentration. A penalty kick was awarded in their favor. Schreier was chosen to take care of the shot, and he does, placing the Czech Republic in the final game for the first time since 1934. About 66,000 spectators gather at the National Stadium in Santiago to watch the host team play their last game, hoping they would obtain at least the 3rd place in the tournament. Chile was facing Yugoslavia. Chile played a nice game. They were disappointed early as the goal they appeared to have scored did not count. Chile, however, never lost their hope. With only 1 minute left to play, the home team had a perfect chance to score, and they didn't miss it. Rojas scored the game-winning goal. Chile obtained the 3rd place victory, something they thought would never be possible. The World Cup final match was set to be played. Of course, the Chileans would have liked to see their team in the final, but even though that didn't happen, 69,000 fans went to the National Stadium in Santiago to watch Brazil versus the Czech Republic in the final game. Brazil was still playing without Pelé, who was injured earlier in the tournament, coincidentally in the game against the Czech Republic when the teams tied at 0. This time, Brazil wanted much more than a draw. The Chilean fans didn't show much affection for the Czechs, so they cheered for Brazil for the entire 90 minutes. Garrincha, who was sent to the bench in the game against Chile, was permitted to play in this one. From the start, both teams appear to be playing at the same level. But in the 15th minute, the Czechs took the lead with this goal by Maspots, who beat Gilmar and scored. 2 minutes after their opponents had scored their first goal, Brazil scored the equalizer as Amarildo shot on goal from a difficult angle. In the second half, Brazil was determined to attack, and so they did. At minute 25, Amarildo received the ball, sent the ball to the right side, and then across to the second post, Forcito, who converted Brazil's second goal. Now they had the lead. The field was full of photographers and reporters who wanted to show the world what already seemed to be a Brazilian victory. When everything seemed to be concluded, and only 6 minutes before the end of the game, Djalma Santos came from the right. The keeper Sheriff missed him, and Vavá, always at the right place, scored the third goal for Brazil. The Czech keeper was grief-stricken, but his team must have been grateful to him since he was one of the most important reasons why they had reached the final game. Brazil defended their title. Brazil was the most offensively powered team in this tournament. They scored 14 goals in 6 games. Pelé was 21 years old, only played 2 games in this championship, but would also celebrate their second championship.